Hi students, we are looking at lesson 8.3, multiplying polynomials. And I looked at your skills practice sheet, and on numbers 1 through 18 are all multiplying binomials. And a binomial has two terms. So if you would look like this one, m plus 4, and then we got m plus 1. This first set of parentheses inside we have a binomial. This is a binomial, so it is a binomial times a binomial. And all of them from 1 through 18 are binomials, multiplying binomials. And the reason I mentioned that is because we talked briefly about FOIL. And remember, FOIL is an acronym that helps us remember to multiply everything together that needs to be multiplied. First, outer, inner, last. And so you can use FOIL to help you remember to multiply them all. But basically, this first m, you've got to be sure to distribute it to both terms when you're multiplying. And then this plus 4 needs to distribute to both of these. So that is why we have FOIL to remind us. Now 19 through 22, each of these has a binomial to start with. So the first thing that we're multiplying is a binomial, but the second one is a trinomial, and a trinomial has 3 terms. FOIL only really works with a binomial times a binomial. In 19 through 22, you need to be sure that this first term, in 19, the first term is w, that w is multiplied by all 3 of these terms. And then the second term is this plus 4 or 4. And that 4 is multiplied to all of these terms. And then you have to simplify your answer. This page is not, there is not enough space on here for me to do my work. So I have written down the ones we're going to do together on paper. I would advise you to do your figuring on paper as well. And the first one I want to look at is number 4. Number 4 is t plus 4 times t minus 3. And if you want to use FOIL, F stands for the first, O stands for the outer, I stands for the inner, L stands for the last. So the first terms are t times t. T times t is t squared. And then the outer, t times negative 3, would be negative 3t. And then the inner, 4 times t, and it's positive, so it's plus 4t. And then the last, this is a positive 4 times a negative 3, which would be negative 12. And what FOIL helps you to do is multiply the first term, multiply t by the first, and then this one, and then multiply the 4 by the first, and then this one. That's what FOIL helps you to do. All right. When I was doing my work, I was being a little bit strategic in that I recognized that these two I can combine. T squared is our first term. Minus 3t plus 4t would be plus 1t or plus t, and then minus 12. So when you were to multiply these, you would get t squared plus t minus 12. All right, let's look at 5. And let's do, I'm just going to do, instead of writing FOIL and all that, we're going to do q times both terms. I'm just going to make it a one long expression. So q times 5q is 5q squared. And then q times negative 1 is negative 1q or just negative q. So 5q minus q, that's after I multiplied q by both terms. Now I need to multiply the 5. 5 times 5q would be 25q. They're both positive, so it's plus 25q. And then 5 times negative 1 would be negative 5. And now we combine like terms. This is the only term that has q squared. These two terms have q in it that I can combine, and then the negative 5. So it's going to be 5q squared Negative q plus 25q would be plus 24q minus 5. So there's your answer for number 12. Number 18, I picked that one because they have, both terms have a variable in it. And so I wanted to go over this one with you. So let's do x times 2x, which would be 2x squared. And then x times negative y would be negative xy. When you're multiplying two variables like x and y, convention says that you put them in alphabetical order. All right, and so we've taken x and multiplied it by both terms. Now we need to do the negative y times both terms. Negative y times 2x would be negative 2xy. And then negative y times negative y, that would be positive y squared. All right, so our 2x squared and our y squared, they're going to stand alone, but we can combine negative xy minus 2xy. So we've got 2x squared. This is like negative 1xy minus 2xy would be negative 3xy, and then plus y squared. So there's your answer there. So in that first section, if you need to use FOIL, use FOIL. If you want to do it in a straight line like I did, you can do that as well. You just have to make sure that the first term in this first factor is multiplied by everything, and the second term is multiplied by everything. And there are 4 terms, so you should have 4 answers. 2 times 2 would be 4. Okay, now this is a binomial times a trinomial. So when I multiply m times all these terms, I'm going to have 3 terms. And then when I multiply the 3 times all these terms, I'll have another 3. So there will be 6 terms if I just make one long line. I may try to stack it. We'll see what happens with that, just to kind of help me combine. All right, so I'm going to do m times all 3 terms first. M times m squared is m cubed. M times positive 3m is positive 3m squared. And then m times 5, they're both positive, would be positive 15. All right, so I've done m times all these terms. Now I'm going to do 3 times all these terms. 3 times m squared is positive 3m squared. I'm going to write that under this one because they can be combined together. And then 3 times 3m would be 9m, plus 9m. And then 3 times 5 would be a positive 15. Well, that didn't work out real well. And that didn't because of this little m here. I am going to move it over and move the 15 over here. So it's in standard form. I don't know if you remember standard form. So m cubed, maybe next time I'll just make one long row. 3m squared plus 3m squared is plus 6m squared. I'm going to go ahead and put the plus 9m here and finish with 15 plus 15 would be plus 30. Okay, so in this lesson again was multiplying polynomials. And the important thing to remember for this is that you distribute everything you need to distribute and that you remember how the exponents work when you're multiplying numbers. Have a great day. I want you to try the rest on your own and don't hesitate to contact me if you run into issues. Have a great one. Talk to you later. Bye.